Welcome to Psalm 86. Beautiful little psalm, a psalm of David, a psalm that's going to point us to God. Let's jump into it. Here are the first 4 verses. Incline your ear, O Lord, and answer me, for I am poor and needy. Preserve my life, for I am godly. Save your servant who trusts in you. You are my God. Be gracious to me, O Lord, for to you do I cry all the day. Gladden the soul of your servant, for to you, O Lord, do I lift up my soul. At first glance, this feels like David is giving reasons why God should answer his prayer. Look at me, Lord. I am poor and needy. I am godly. I'm crying to you. I'm lifting up my soul to you. But if that was the impression that we were to take through the whole psalm, we would miss what's actually going on here. The real reason that David is able to confidently approach God with whatever the circumstance may be that he's facing is not because he has a clear view of himself, although that is important, especially the poor and needy, and I need you, Lord. But it's not so much from a perspective of deserving anything. It's from a confidence in who God is and what God's character is like. The most foundational reality about any one of us is what we believe about God. And Psalm 86 is a great place to do some theology, to take some time to ponder the big question of what is God like? And as you go through it, the word for actually will point us to God more than it points us to ourselves. Okay, so we've already seen here that this is a God that David expects to answer and hear and answer and preserve and save, who can be gracious and gladden the soul of his servant. So he's already saying things about God. But as we go on, notice how the for is used to point us to God, truth about God that is the reason for the praying that David is doing. So verse 5, for you, O Lord, are good and forgiving, abounding in steadfast love to all who call upon you. A couple of verses later, in verse 7, in the day of my trouble, I call upon you. Why? For you answer me. Then he goes on, there is none like you among the gods, O Lord. Come down to verse 10. There we go. For you are great and do wondrous things. You alone are God. You see, the word for is actually being used multiple times here to give a reason why God can be trusted, a reason why God can be approached in prayer, because he's good and forgiving. He's abounding in steadfast love to those who call upon him. You can come to God in the day of trouble because he's a God who answers. There's no other God like this God. He is great and he does wondrous things, in contrast to all the other gods that actually do nothing. Verse 12, I give thanks to you, O Lord my God, with my whole heart, and I will glorify your name forever. Why? For great is your steadfast love toward me. You have delivered my soul from the depths of Sheol. Down in verse 14, he continues, O God, insolent men have risen against me. A band of ruthless men seeks my life, and they do not set you before them, but you. So that's kind of another turning towards God. It's not a for, but it works the same in this case. You, O Lord, are a God merciful and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love and faithfulness. There, just look at the richness of this kind of theological truth that's being presented through these verses here. God's merciful, gracious, slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love and faithfulness. That's, of course, pulling from Exodus 34. But all the way through, if you were to go through this psalm and say, okay, what is God like? You would find description after description that would point you to the steadfast love of God, to the trustworthiness of God, to the patience of God. And then right at the end, he says, show me a sign of your favor, that those who hate me may see and be put to shame. Because you, Lord, have helped me and comforted me. I would encourage you to go through Psalm 86 with just one question in mind. What is God like? And allow Psalm 86 to stir your confidence in the character of God so that you can pray to him. so that you come to him with whatever is on your heart. And of course, be sure to share Psalm 86 with others. It's a psalm that people need to read. And so encourage somebody else to read it and enjoy what it has to say about God.